Welcome to 2 on the 10.
Oh, welcome back to On the 10. How you doing?
Hello.
I'm Paul.
I'm Mitch.
Greedy Nick.
Greedy.
Yeah. Hey, so we're back with another edition of our crazy stories. We're going to come to you every once in a while, change it up on you, give a different little format and kind of give you an insight of some crazy things that have gone on in our life.
It's not because somebody's on vacation.
Yeah. Well, I might be in Europe, when this is going on, but, that's none of y'all business.
I might be in rehab.
Yeah, grown folk business.
Betty Ford Clinic.
Exactly, but
What do you say? You're gonna be in bedding rehab?
Yes.
Betty, yeah, he definitely needs to be in bedding rehab, definitely. But let's start it off with Greedy. I know you have a story wow story that.
Yeah, it's actually a current story, and it's actually made national news. A guy that I work with, Quaylen Campbell, he's out of Colorado Springs. He's actually originally, I think, from Atlanta. He just started working for the company I work for about 6 months ago. He was at work a couple of weeks ago on a Friday, just right around lunchtime. His wife gets a text from him with his location and a picture of some guy sitting in his front seat with the note that says 911, send help.
Wow.
And
That's kind of scary.
she called the police and, told them, hey, here's his location. There's some weird guy in his car. I think he's being held hostage. You guys need to go there right away. And apparently the police either didn't respond. They're not really saying. They're saying it's an open investigation. But she showed up about 45 minutes later with his uncle, or his uncle showed up and found both men slumped over in the car. Upon further investigation, he had been shot. And it looks like the guy that was in the car with him, his name was David Carrolls, killed him and then took his own life. Not really sure if they even knew each other. Like I said, Quaylen had just barely moved into that area. He'd only been there about 6 months. So just a really strange, weird story. And the strangest thing is that the police didn't respond until after the wife was on scene and called a second time.
Wow.
And let them know that people had been shot. Did they finally show up? So even when the shooting took place, I don't know if people heard the gunshots or didn't do anything or didn't say anything, but basically, he was killed, and it looks like what was a murder-suicide, and it looks like it was just a random act. And like I said, the police were notified an hour before when he first let his wife know that there was an issue, and they just never showed up. And he was sitting in his car an hour away from the major police station in Colorado Springs.
Wow.
And it doesn't even look like anybody came or even followed up on it until after they were notified that people were shot.
Is there any?
You say an hour away?
No, a mile away.
Oh, I thought you said hour.
A mile away. Yeah.
Was there
But it was
any
an hour before they actually showed up.
Gotcha. Was there any indication that this man was like mentally ill or?
It's hard to say that. Like, there's not much out there about him now. The owner of our company put out just a brief statement. Obviously condolences to the Campbell family. He had 2 young children and a wife, and obviously it's a severe tragedy. You never want to see that happen to anybody, but especially kind of hits close to home when it's someone that works for the company you work for. And I travel around. I'm in the field, most days, visiting customers and doing things, and have someone else that kind of does a similar role to me, just going about his day, end up dead. It really hits home. And the scary part is, if you think about it, if you call the police and there's a hostage situation, besides like an active shooter situation, what more is pressing than a hostage situation where someone's being held at gunpoint that the police just didn't respond to it? It's pretty crazy. And I don't know if it's, some people might say it's a race thing because, he was black and maybe the police were just like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. It's just, there's so many unanswered questions, but it just makes you think, if they're not responding to that, how safe are we really, and what kind of response are you going to get if you dial 911?
Is it still an open investigation?
Yeah, it's still an open investigation. Like I said, they really haven't released much other than they're calling it a murder-suicide. They released the name of, obviously him, the victim, and the murderer who also killed himself. And that's about all they've given. And, the family is, they're looking for answers. I'm sure there's going to be lawsuits involved. Why didn't the police respond? It's just kind of crazy, like in a situation like that. But it just goes to make you think, like, you could just be going about your day and you cross the wrong person or come across the wrong person for whatever reason, and your life ends over nothing.
I'll say this. I mean, I've been pretty quiet about it, and I'm going to pretty much stay that way. I'm an opinionated person, but when you got a family suffering and everything else, and especially this is closer to your work and everything, it just doesn't make sense to me, though. Like, I mean, again, it never does. I mean, obviously, I'm sure the family, obviously, but it just doesn't make sense what we're hearing, what they got on any level, from how long it took the police to get there to how are you able to, if you're afraid for your life, how are you able to get a photo of a guy, with your phone, and stuff. That's a little weird. It almost seems like they knew each other, or something. And then my thought would be, again, I'm not going to put anything else out there, but it just doesn't make too much sense. I hope the family, gets the clarity and gets the finalization of what they need. And yeah.
The only thing I can think of is maybe this guy had some mental issues or was not all there, and he jumped in the car and startled him and was sitting there talking, and maybe he didn't realize the guy had a gun at first, and maybe he was just like, hey, this is weird, this guy's not leaving my car.
But then when, I mean, again, and this is all hypothetical.
Yeah.
But then to sit there and go, like, again, I try and put myself in every situation to try and understand it so I know how to act or have had a playbook to recall. If I'm afraid for my life, I do want to get a phone call out there, right? But in the same token, if I can reach up to take a photo, I might be able to reach up to grab the guy, right? Or, to do something. So again,
not everybody has that same mentality.
Fight or flee.
Flee or fight. Some people are just more timid, and who knows? Maybe he didn't feel threatened at first until maybe a gun was pulled, and by that time it was too late. You just don't know. We don't know. We don't know what we don't know. But it's kind of a crazy situation. It's made national news. I've seen news reports on Yahoo. I've seen news reports on CNN and all different news agencies reporting on this. The bigger issue, I think, is why didn't the police respond when there's a situation of someone being held hostage and someone's life possibly being in danger? You would hope that that's the main priority for the police.
And
that would be the first thing they would respond to.
And for the record, they're a mile away.
Yeah, and they're a mile away. And why don't they come? Why don't they even send a squad car by to just see what's going on? Like it just doesn't make sense. And maybe they did send somebody by and they said everything was. We don't know. We don't know. Like I said, they're not. The police aren't giving much. Obviously, they're doing the CYA, but the family's still looking for answers that they're not getting, and it's sad. And like I said, I send my condolences to the family, and even the people that he worked with that were close with him in the past 6 months. It's tough to go back to work every day knowing that this thing happened and you don't have answers, and maybe the people that work with him in that area, maybe they're not feeling safe because we don't know what happened, and it's kind of scary to think of that.
Crazy, man. Well, definitely keep us updated. I mean, this is a story. I know we, this is kind of an episode of crazy stories, but I mean, this is definitely one. But definitely keep us updated, going forward. If you hear anything more on the story, because I definitely want to hear the conclusion of this. So.
Yeah, I think everybody does.
Yeah. So definitely want to see that the family gets closure.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely. Let's kind of jump to a little lighter note. Kind of going back in time a little bit.
I asked Paul to do this story because when we come back and we're sitting there going, okay, what stories are out there? Right. I remember hearing the story for those who know Paul used to play professional football, and so it was it your rookie season?
Yeah, rookie season. Yep, I was Edgerrin James, rookie fullback at the time. Yep.
So I'll just put a little more, background in that. Paul was the rookie fullback for the Colts, who had, they had Edgerrin James as their running back, they had Peyton Manning as their quarterback, and they had Marvin Harrison as their wide receiver.
Correct.
So anyway, this story Paul told me before. I thought it was always a funny story, just because to show because you get an idea of somebody else's lifestyle. So I'd love for Paul to tell this story, with him and Edge.
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of connected with it a little bit. We went down to Miami back in the day. Miami used to be your favorite football team.
Yep.
Mitch traveled down to see the Colts play. Miami Dolphins.
And that was a division. It was basically for the division.
Yeah, it was a title.
And Marino had been hurt, and he was coming back for that game.
Right.
At least I was keeping my fingers crossed because I got these tickets like 2 months earlier, and so I'm going down to South Beach, baby, renting some scooters, hitting Collins Boulevard, and I was such a Dolphins fan at the time. Of course, I had to stop at Shula's to get a steak. I had to stop at Jimmy Johnson's 3 Rings to get a steak. Then I had to go over to Coconut Grove and go to Dan Marino's and get a steak. But with that said, Paul was playing, so it was such a double, it was such a double amazing event because Paul, I got to watch my boy play against my favorite football player of all time.
Right, exactly.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's last season.
Yeah,
I think that was his last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and these two teams were so evenly matched, and they went against each other. I mean, I was blown away, and that game did not disappoint. I know exactly.
I mean, it came down to the end. It came down to Mike Vanderjack.
54-yard field goal, 55-yard field goal, which they didn't think he'd make. I mean, well, he's got the leg,
Right.
but we're like, we're going into overtime.
Right.
And I want to say the score was 51-54 or something.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
it was definitely a high-scoring game. But like I said, it was a divisional game. We're both trying to make playoff pushes. It was a dogfight. I mean, they had some dogs on the other side. I remember that game. It was probably, people ask me, what's the hardest hitting cat that you've ever played against, and it probably was Brian Cox that they had.
One of my favorite defensive players ever.
And the funny thing
51.
is, Brian Cox, he's what we call cock strong, just because.
Pause.
But what that means is he doesn't even lift in the he doesn't lift in the weight room. He's just naturally strong.
Well, can I tell you his motivation? Have you heard the stories of his motivation? So when he left the Dolphins, he went to the Bears and balled out for a little bit, and then he went over to the Jets real quick, I believe.
Yeah.
So what he said, and he was always a person that I patterned myself after, early '90s or whatever. When and he said that he sits on the other side. He goes, I'm not that strong on the, like you said. He was game strong, which is better than, it's like grown man strength.
Yeah.
He said, I sit there and I look at the person I'm lining up across from me, and I sit there and I envision them kicking my door in, trying to kill my kids and rape my wife.
Wow. Damn.
And he says, I do that every play.
Well, I mean, he definitely saw me trying to do that because, I mean, the cat. I mean, in that game, he filled the hole. You talk about seeing Tweety Birds and stuff like that, and that dude just came downhill on the goal line and just smacked. And I remember him hitting me on top of the helmet and talking about, great hit, rookie, Well, I didn't even know where I was. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It was amazing. I got back to our sideline because, like I said, he rocked my bell right there.
And you know what? I always remember this because, again, I'm the diehard Dolphin fan. Didn't you say that? And I mean, there's no disrespect, but didn't you say something about Zach Thomas?
Yeah, I mean, Zach Thomas was nowhere compared to where Brian Cox was. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't you guys just say it was like run at him or whatever?
Yeah,
he was all over the field. But,
it was no disrespect to Zach Thomas. He like
he's
I said,
an overachiever.
Yeah. I mean, great player. Short dude. But who would you rather run at, Brian Cox or Zach Thomas? All day, Zach Thomas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just. I mean, it was just that fact. But we ended up winning that game.
Last second field goal.
Yeah, last second field goal. We ended up winning that game. A great game. Like I said. I was privileged that you were down there.
Yep. I always talk about that experience. It was amazing.
I wish you would be able to come back in the locker room and stuff like that. But
after the game, I was a big baby. This is when when I didn't understand the reality of sports to the fullest. I'm just playing. I was still, your heroes growing up are still, this is the last era when sports really was my heroes still, And so I was so just crushed when Marino lost that I left the stadium and didn't even think about it. I was like, man, bro, I was waiting for you to come meet me because I was going to bring you in the locker room and meet everybody.
Yeah.
So I kind of fumbled on that one for football. Net,
right, and I should have known. So we play on Sundays, and we're going back, and I should have known this was going to be the start of some crazy because me and Jason Taylor were walking off the field. We get out of the locker room when they're walking. So they're walking.
Joy Taylor's brother.
They're walking. He's walking to his car, and we're walking to the bus. It's all in the same parking lot, stuff like that. And fans are asking, asking us for autographs and stuff like that. And at that time, fans were allowed to, come like really close up to us at that time. They don't allow that stuff no more. But back in the day, so they're asking us for autographs, stuff like that, and then they're asking for, and then Jason Taylor, comes up, and there's this woman there, big busted woman. She's sitting right there, and there's this little kid right there, and she first asked me, she was like, "Hey, will you sign my ass?" And I'm like, "Nah," I'm thinking there's a little kid right there. And then she was like, "Okay, fine." And then Jason Taylor's standing right next to me, and she was like, "Will you sign my breast?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course." I was like, "Bro, they do it way different down here in Miami." You know what I'm saying? They're like used to all this stuff because we go to the buses, women, all kinds.
So you're saying leave the children alone?
I'm just saying, not in front of the children, man. It was just crazy and stuff like that. But so we get on the bus, and it's wild. At this time, the NFL is big time, and so Edge is he's not on the bus yet, and I'm just walking to it, and then he stops me, and it was like, hey, he's from Mockley, which is right outside of Naples in Miami. So he went to the University of Miami down there, and he was asking me, man. First of all, I got to go back. Edgerrin James is one of the coolest cats you'll ever meet. I've got to meet some legends growing up. You were talking about Dan Marino. Last year, I grew up a Washington Redskins fan, so I got to meet Darryl Green my last year. It just I played with Hall of Famer. Both Edgerrin James and Edgerrin James and Peyton Manning and Marvin Harris, all Hall of Famers. I got a chance to play with.
Peyton Manning's forehead.
Yeah, and that one too. But
And what about the lineman Saturday?
Yeah, Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday is a great friend of mine. People don't know about Jeff's story is, he came in the league just off a favor. The year before he came in the league, he was stacking groceries at a grocery store. So he came in. And,
Was he working with Kurt Warner by any chance?
No.
That grocery store had the best flag football team ever.
Right? But no, Jeff's
shopping at jock straps.
Jeff's story is crazy. He came in on a favor, and the starting center got hurt, and he filled in, and Jeff never gave up that position.
Oh, it sounds like the Wally Pipp story, huh?
So it was.
You remember that? I just, for the people that don't know, Wally Pipp was a starting first baseman for the Yankees, and he was their man. He gets hurt, and then who the backup was? Lou Gehrig.
Wow.
And Lou Gehrig got the streak for never coming out of a game.
Yeah, right.
So again, not so.
Hey, I just want to say this real quick. In your rookie season, the one memory that I have as a kid, I grew up watching Paul play, and
As a kid, how much older was Paul?
He was a little bit older, not much, but I used to go up to, when I was in high school, watch him play in college at U of A.
Hey, Mr. Shields, can you sign my glasses?
Yeah, exactly. But watching, coming home one night and Paul had played in a game, and watching Sports Center and seeing Stuart Scott talk about the field goal that Paul had blocked.
Pimp slap.
He said gangster slapped. And then Paul Shields gangster slapped the ball. And I think you guys won the game because that was a game-winning field goal and you blocked it.
Yeah.
Should I have some of my boys back home call me about that? Ain't that your boy?
Yeah. But I just remember watching Sports Center and it was like the proud friend moment when you see Stuart Scott talking about Paul Shields gangster slapped the ball. I still want to try to find that video. So someone's got.
I tried to look it up myself
too.
Yeah. And like I said, that was I was live for that too when he said that too. So I didn't know you were going to say that, but I definitely get that.
Shout out to the late.
Rest in peace to Stuart Scott.
Man, that's my man.
That was one of the games too. I think that helped propel you guys into that playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. That was against Buffalo. So. Yeah. That was
so you were. Please continue. I'm curious. You're saying with Edge,
Yeah. So, like I said, Edge is one of the coolest cats you'll ever meet. I remember my ex-wife's birthday. He invited us down there, just took care of her. He had a box of clothes for her, all the stuff, and it was their family reunion.
I heard about that. That was kind of.
It was wild. Like, we had a great time. But anyway, so he taps me on the shoulder. So in the NFL, if you win on Sunday, normally you have Monday off, and you don't you have Monday and Tuesday off. You don't come back and practice till Wednesday. So so we had won. So he got permission to be able to stay down in Miami for a couple of days. But he had his Benz parked in the team parking lot, and so he tapped me on the shoulder and he asked me to. It wasn't his Benz, it was his Bentley.
I was just gonna say, I thought it was a Bentley.
Yeah, it was his Bentley. My bad. That was parked in the team parking lot. So he asked me, hey, he was like, hey, will you do me a favor? Will you drive my Bentley from the parking lot back to your house, and then when I come back, just drive it to practice on Wednesday? And I was like, yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I got you. So, of course, shit, I ain't never drove a Bentley before, so I'm excited and stuff like that. So, he used to have this blue Bentley, dope, with his tan interior and stuff like that. So, I called my wife and was like, hey, man, we gonna be next couple of days, we gonna be bobbing.
We going to Sizzler.
Bentley.
I was like, we bobbing around like we big balling and stuff like that. So,
Were you playing big timers?
yeah. So
Get your roll on.
So I get back, but it's dark when we get back. So it's late when we get back. So I'm not thinking about anything, and so I drive back to the house and whatever. So the next day, I get my wife, and I was like, hey, let's fucking take this thing for a spin. So I get her, take the kids and stuff like that, and we're driving down the road, and I don't have any sunglasses on. And of course, it's sunny out there. So, you put down the sun visor.
I will always remember this part.
And all of a sudden, this check flips out in my lap. And I'm going, what the fuck? So I'm like, So I look down. This is $250,000 check that he's got up in the visor. I'm like, how much money is this cat making when he can just put a check up there and like $250? Well, don't worry, I'll get to it. You know what I'm saying?
How much money was in his teeth?
But it was just crazy to me. So I'm tripping out. Like, maybe he forgot about this, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I call Edge and I'm like, hey, bro, just want to. He was like, is everything all right? Bentley good? I'm like, yeah, Bentley's fine, man. But you had this check up device. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll get to it. He was like so nonchalant about it. I'm like, I'm on a rookie, rookie minimum at that time. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like today where cats come in the league and they're making $600,000-$700,000. You know what I'm saying? I was making $187,000 at the time coming in. So $250 a check just sitting there that he forgets about was crazy. It was crazy. But like I said, man, he was so humble, so humble. It was like he was one of them cats where he doesn't let fame go to his head, nothing like that. It just he's one of those good guys, NFL good guys.
No, it sounds like. Do you remember this real quick when we had the other business? And he was on the radio station. He came to the Cardinals. Yeah. And so I called the radio station because I knew a couple cats there and put you back in touch with him.
Yeah. And it was dope just to hear him. I mean, we follow each other on Instagram and stuff like that. And I shout out to him. He's doing. I mean, he's got multiple business stuff like that. And that's another thing. He is a very sharp businessman too. So shout out to Edge, man.
No, definitely. Can we clap it up for Edge?
Yeah.
I think you just showed a side that I bet you nobody else talked about or nobody else can understand unless they was in the trenches.
Yeah, exactly, man. It was just phenomenal guy. Phenomenal guy. Yep, definitely.
No, definitely.
Mitch, you got a story for me?
I'm gonna follow that one up with a little. I'm gonna choose violence. I'm just playing. So this is kind of for the people that know. This is a little bit of an infamous story because just the nature of what happened and how it happened and where it happened. But I'm originally, I'm out here. I'm single. I'm hitting the clubs. I'm hitting them quite often.
Are you still single?
Are you still hitting the clubs?
Well, golf course.
What are you talking about? Why you take a drink on that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so put you on the spot.
No, so anyways.
You hear that?
So we.
Are you flustered now? Huh?
No.
You okay? Get
Hey,
your thoughts together.
Can I prep my notes? Please?
Okay, all right.
I'm getting attacked by two people. I can only respond to one. No, but so I'm hitting the clubs, and Thursday nights was Martini Ranch back in the day. The shaker room.
Shaker room upstairs.
So downstairs was Rock Lobster, whatever the rock band was. You go upstairs and it was hip hop. And Thursday nights, for whatever reason, was the perfect night because it just was vibe. First of all, it's the pre-game before the weekend and everything else. And so what I used to love to do, and this is right before the bottles, this had to be circa '02, maybe '03. No, I'd say '02,
Probably right in there.
'03. And so they used to always have the pool table right there, the shaker room, and everybody was back in there before bottle service. Everybody had to line up like cattle at the bar. So you got to go try and fit in. You remember those days?
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't matter who you were. It took 20, 30 minutes to get drinks sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So I figured out the system. I don't know how, I just grab a waitress to walk by because I love to dance. I'm on the dance floor dancing. I'd pull back out and pause. I'd hit the waitress and I'd go, hey, if I buy a couple drinks from you every time, can I just be right here? You just keep, I'll tip you good. So first time I'll give her 20 just to, start it. And she'd come find me every time. 2 drinks, 2 drinks, 2 drinks, 2 drinks, And now I don't have to mess with that. It's like, so we're there, and I'm with a couple friends, and we're just dancing, having fun, living it up. And then, and then the shake room has a little dance floor with the curtains on the side right by the pool table. So we put our drinks on the pool table, dance on the dance floor. We didn't leave them, I'd kind of dance with them. But so there's a little bit of room. People can dance wherever that night. And for whatever reason, this one cat just keeps kind of dancing and back. I don't know what he thought he was doing. I don't know if Mambo number 9 was playing or something, but he keeps backing into me. And the first time he backs into me, and I'm like, and he's got the whole dance floor, but he wants to cha-cha back into me. So then he cha-chas back into me again. So I put my elbow up, and he turns around, and by the third time, he's like, back the fuck up, man. I'm like, what? I just sipped my drink. I started laughing. This dude's got to be playing, right? Bro, you got this whole airspace over here, and you decide you want to keep, effing with me. He comes back again. I just keep my forearm up. He gets my forearm, and I and I just look at him, and he kind of says something else, and I say something to him. And I said something to my boy. I go, man, can you believe this motherfucker? Whatever. And it comes back one more time. So finally we turn around. Now we're face to face with each other. And I've kind of already worn my limit with him. So I'm like, you know what? I go, look, bro, if you bump me one more time, and while I say that, he sneaks me with an elbow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sneaks me with an elbow to the face.
Wow.
Like just whap. And all I remember is, I really don't remember. It just went black.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, I did whatever, and he's through the window of the club on the side, and I'm actually trying to go through the window to grab him, even though the window's broke, and I'm trying to grab him to punch him one more time in the face. And then it realizes, all of a sudden, the music stops, the lights go on, it's quiet, and you hear people screeching, like, what? What? And I look, and I go, oh my, and it just literally, I had to come to whatever moment.
Right.
I went from wanting to, whip this dude's ass to, oh my God, is he okay?
Right.
Did he cut his neck? Right. Like, I started sitting there going, if he cut his neck on the glass, this is, right. And it just went to
realization.
It was one of the first times in my life, you have altercations, you have whatever else is, but it was one of those, like, whoa, hold on a second, this is way more than you bargained for. This is like I didn't want any part of this, Mm-hmm. And I seriously, so I back up, and now I'm kind of tripping. I don't know what, he's kind of on the ground. I don't know what's going on. My boys grab me real quick. Hey, get back, So we go back in the bathroom. And I got to say, shout out to my boys that used to work. There were some Nigerian cats, real good dudes. I'm still friends with them this day. I don't know who worked that night, but usually they hung with each other. Mm-hmm. So it was my boy Abraham, shout out Abe, shout out Mo, and shout out Fidel. And those 3 cats, they were Nigerian dudes. I always had their back, always trying to take care of them, but they always took care of me. Right. That night, they're like, hey, bro, because they opened the door, they hear all the commotion. Hey, get back in here. Hey, just stay in the back real quick. So they take whatever, this vest off of what I was wearing. And, so cops come looking around. They're like, no, this guy's, no, he's been here, whatever, cool. So now they're like, I go, thank you, brother, good looking. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. See y'all next week, And I'm walking out, and one of my boys, you ready to go? Let's go, we got the ride ready. Cool. And now I'm thinking to myself, first of all, where's this dude and his friends? You know what I mean? And I'm like, hopefully, 1, the dude's okay. 2, I just told my boy Stevie, who was with me, that worked at Talking Sports or whatever, I go, anybody that comes up to me, just so you know, I'm swinging on them. Just because if my friend got thrown through a window in the club and everything else, I know I'm trying to attack dudes, Right. So we're starting to walk through, and of course, here comes some dude. He's coming up, I kind of cock back on him. He's like, hey, hold on. He backs up real quick, because I cocked it right on him, and so he backs up, and he goes, what the hell's wrong with you? Why'd you do that to my friend? And I'm like, I warned your friend, and I'm like, I warned your friend, and, why'd he elbow me in my face,
Right.
And he goes, And then I just stopped real quick and I go, hey, is he okay? I'm like, is he okay?
right.
Yeah, no, he's just a little bit shook, but he's okay. I go, you sure? Okay, cool. And I'm like, he saw me like, okay, cool. And he actually goes, hey, is it cool? Can we squash this? I go, hell yeah, we can squash it.
Right.
And we shook hands and I walked out, And
So you
So you basically threw someone through a window at Martini Ranch, is what you're saying. The gist of the story.
allegedly.
and got away with it.
allegedly, hold on. We got statutes of limitations. Have we?
7 years, they're over.
That club's gone.
Okay. Have we?
It's wasted grain now.
Talked to legal. We good on that?
And I'll tell you this too. So a couple people that knew the story, because Steve worked at my distributor. He was the salesperson because I owned the baseball card store back in the day. He worked at the #1 distributor in Arizona, and actually which became the country. So he tells my sales rep the next day that went out. So I get a phone call in the morning at my store. Hey, I go, and I answer my phone. Can I speak to Mitch Barkley? Like the first phone call. And then other people started hearing about the story. So, I got a few prank calls. And even Nick, if people remember, hey, speaking of Barkley, didn't you throw somebody out the window?
Yeah.
So in one of the earlier episodes. So that's the infamous Martini Ranch window story. You heard it here first.
There you go. But hey, I just want to tell the viewers and the listeners.
We don't condone violence.
Yeah, we don't condone violence, and Mitch is a reformed man. He's got some Buddhism in him. And,
trust me, you can vouch for that though.
Yeah. You are definitely a different individual than you
15 years ago.
you were definitely like a hothead back in the day for sure.
Especially when you had a drink or two.
Yeah. But now you are a big ass teddy bear, so I still don't fuck with him though.
Hey, I still walked up to a club recently and seen some guy go flying across. Go, oh, I guess Mitch is in there.
No. He chooses peace over violence.
Definitely.
Nick,
Yeah.
Grady, what you got?
I'm gonna share another story. This was back probably about around that same time, maybe a little bit earlier, early 2000s. My boy Steve, shout out to Steve, still has a DJ company.
Uncle Steve?
Universal disc jockeys or video jockeys. Back then it was DJ. There was no video back then. But me and him, we shared a condo together through college. And
Heard that's not the only thing y'all shared.
Oh wow! Pause.
there might have been a incident or two with
I was talking about Sal's Gilbert Pizza.
Guido's
Uncle's house, yeah.
Italian deli sandwich. Yeah. So we.
What were you thinking?
What was her name again? I forget. Anyway, we were. He was DJing, and we had some friends. I just turned 21. We had some friends that were still like 19, 20. Plus, we had some friends that in their early to mid 20s. So we were like, we should throw a club night for 18 and up at some bar somewhere here. And there's nothing in the East Valley really at that time. So somehow Steve got involved with this club or bar called DiMaggio's. They used to have like a DJ booth inside. They did, I forget, one night they had like a mix of DJ in there, and usually it was decent. So Steve got in good with the owner. His name was Ira Pomerantz. Older gentleman, really nice, soft-spoken. I think he was from Chicago. I always thought maybe he had mob ties or something just because the way he was. But,
Interesting.
So we decided we're going to do this teen night there, or not teen night, but 18 and up night. So we're going to have all the people under 21 out on the patio. We have a separate DJ out there. Inside is 21 and older with wristbands, another DJ inside. So we do this, and then we work out an agreement with him for splitting part of the door and some money situation. So we throw this event there on a Friday, and it's pretty good. We didn't get the turnout that we were hoping for, just because I don't think people really knew about it, and it was the first night. So normally those types of things you got to do them like 3 or 4 times before you start getting a following. People start hearing about it. So, but we thought we did pretty good. So
I shut up to support. Put him in at the time, the new Jetta.
So we do this 18 and up night, and at the end of the night we talk to the owner Ira, and he's like, let's discuss the money. We'll square up later this week. He's like, give me a call middle of the week, and we'll figure it out. So we're like, cool. So I don't hear anything. Steve, the week rolls by. I go, Steve, have you reached out to Ira? He's like, yeah, I left him a couple messages. He hasn't answered his phone. And we're all like, that's kind of weird. And then, we went by the bar, and they're like, no, he's not here. We haven't heard from him. We're like, that's kind of strange. It's his bar. He's always there every day. He had an office in the back and everything. So come to find out, and I'm sure a lot of you probably heard of this, his wife at the time, I guess, killed him over that weekend
I guess killed him.
and chopped up his body, and he was the torso murder that was a big
you
story
serious?
back in the early 2000s. So
Wow.
his wife chopped up his body. They only recovered his torso. They never found the rest of his limbs or his head. His wife never gave up what she did with him. She said in a moment of panic, they got in an argument, she killed him, and she didn't know what to do, so she chopped him up and threw him away, but she never gave any details on to where the rest of his body was.
What's his wife's name? Do you know?
I don't remember. She was a Scottsdale. She owned a salon in Scottsdale. She was actually from France.
Okay, her surname's not Jolie then.
No. So, yeah, no. So,
What's over there now?
so Jolie's place, yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure.
No, so the place closed down for a long time before that ever opened up. But yeah, so we started hearing these news stories about it, and we first heard about they found a torso in I think it was like a Fry's dumpster behind the Fry's, and we're like, that's crazy, like up in Scottsdale. And then when the name finally came out, I called Steve and I was like, Steve, isn't that Ira? That's our guy, right? And Steve's like, yeah, I think so. And it was just crazy to like follow that story and then find out that his wife basically did it, and they had video of her like basically disposing of his torso, pulling it out of her trunk in a bag and throwing it into the
Yeah, that's wild, bro.
into the trash can. And I mean, she I think she served 17 or 18 years, and then they let her out, and then she actually got deported back to France.
That's crazy.
So yeah, pretty crazy. But yeah, so we never got to square up with him, and it's just like he disappeared one day, and yeah, he ended up being the infamous torso murder. So
That's insane.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's
I don't know what to say about that, but
I don't know what to say with that. That is wild, bro. They make
well, let me
me
just say
scared.
this. It reminds me of a story we could probably tell, because isn't it interesting when people always go, oh, it's usually, look, this person's mob, or in your mind it feels like it's mob, or in your mind it feels like it's witness protection. Because I'm not going to lie, coming out here in the late 90s, I could see that and kind of feel that out here. Arizona was a safe haven for people.
we look at Sammy the Bull's out here for
yeah,
a number of
yeah.
years, had his Italian restaurant,
Uncle Sal's.
in Scottsdale.
Uncle Sal's.
Still a great, amazing Italian.
Shout out to Mary.
Yeah, so, and Bob.
Yep.
Amazing Italian food over there at Uncle Sal's. And yeah, it's just so.
What about
there was-
even the rumor? Well, for our rumor, at least we started with. We'll have to bring this on a different story. Dazzler dogs on the way to Wiki.
Yeah, there's some crazy.
Yeah, we'll
story
have to
there.
tell that another time.
It'll be another time. But
That's crazy. Hey, so but you and
Yeah.
Nick have a common story.
Yeah.
Part of our other story.
Yeah. Nick, you want to start that off? How it
yeah,
came
so
about?
my company does what they call a President's Club trip. So overachievers every year, they take them on all expenses paid for them and a guest to, usually somewhere in Mexico for like 3 or 4 day all-inclusive resort. So this particular year they were doing Puerto Vallarta, and I was like, Mitch, you want to roll? And he's like, at the time, Mitch was like, I don't know. He didn't like to fly. He didn't want to go to Mexico. So
my girl at the time wouldn't.
his girl. So we had to really like finagle
time.
the deal to get Mitch to go.
And I remember when I first said, I said, why don't you take your brother?
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, my brother don't really drink like that.
My company-
and my company, they're all about the drinks, and their idea of the trip to Mexico is everybody hangs out at the pool, gets wasted all day, goes back up to their room, changes, comes back down to dinner, and then gets wasted all night, and gets up next morning, does it all.
And basically he goes, bro, if I invite you, I got it in the bag to get invited back. That's what he said, right?
So me and Mitch, we show up to the airport. And there's like 12 other people from my branch, plus people flying in from our other branches.
First day I met
across
Joe
the country.
Blazer. Shout out Joe Blazer.
Yeah,
Who
so-
listen to the show.
Yep. So we go to we're in the airport. We start drinking in the airport. Then we get on the plane. We start drinking on the plane. Then we land in Puerto Vallarta.
And first of all, did you say there's a contest on the bus who drinks the most 22s?
Yeah.
Really?
So then we get on the bus, and there's just coolers full of beer, and everybody just starts popping beers, drinking,
22s.
just downing them. And the bus ride's like an hour long. By this time, I'm probably 10, 12 drinks deep. Mitch is probably 15 drinks. I think Mitch drank like a 12-pack on the bus in an hour
Right.
of 22s. So we get there, and then
Don't try that at home, kids.
the first thing we do is we check into the hotel, and everybody goes right down to the pool. We start drinking at the swim up bar.
Right.
Shots, drinks, mixed drinks, frozen drinks, everything.
And keep in mind, they're all comp. Now, we're tipping good, but they're all comped.
We're all comped. So
Y'all acting like you guys are first time you drinking early college days.
No,
going
it was
back, huh?
that's the type of events.
What did you say, Paul? Like you're going to the chair.
Yeah, that's the type that these events are. It's like you drink in excess, and then when you
train
feel like
real
you can't drink anymore, you drink more.
Exactly. You train real hard for this, you know?
So it's the first night, and so I had the company that I had originally worked for got bought out by this company like 2 years earlier. So I knew the people that I worked with in my branch, but I didn't know a lot of the executives and the people from our main office, which was in another state. And so this was gonna be my first time meeting a lot of these people and a lot of the people that work for the company. So about 4 o'clock, me and Mitch, I stumble up to the room. We have to get ready.
We threw him down in the pool.
We threw him down.
The heat's on us. We're drinking
Yeah,
in
we're
the pool.
drinking, and we've been drinking since I think we got to the airport at like 7:30 in the morning. We started ordering Bloody Marys.
Wow.
So we get up to the room, and I'm like, I'm just gonna lay down for a minute, and then now take it. We have like an hour to get ready, and they have our opening ceremony
beach,
banquet
on the beach.
They
Yeah.
do a full dinner. They make an announcements. They introduce everybody, and everybody gets name tags and stuff, and you get like a little award thing. And so I lay down, and Mitch, go ahead. You
Okay,
can
so
tell
I'm gonna
from
say, so it's about, about like, obviously I understand the sleep and the appreciation of that and stuff. But I'm like, Nick, you got about 15 minutes, bro, before your dinner. I'm good. I'm like, Nick, it's time to go, bro. You gotta get down there. He's like half asleep. I'll meet you down there. I go, you sure, bro? What's it called? I go, I'm gonna go down because I'm sure somebody needs to represent you,
Yeah.
So I just go down there. I'm talking to everybody. I have my name tag or whatever. I don't know anybody.
Right.
Anybody.
No,
Literally nobody.
Right.
I just go grab at the bar. People come up, hey, what's your name? Where are you from? Oh, yeah, where's Nick at? Oh, okay. Like a couple people that are from Arizona. Cool. So I just start talking, we're drinking, whatever. I'm like, dang, Nick's not coming down, I keep talking and drinking, whatever. All of a sudden I meet more people, right? So we go through the whole opening ceremony. Nick doesn't even come down. He doesn't make it. He doesn't make it.
You done, huh?
So I start talking to these other people, and they're like, hey, what are you doing tonight? They're like, we're going to go to the club, and we're going to go do this, and we're going to go hit this, and, might even hit some spots outside of this. I'm in. Let me go get my boy.
Right.
Cool. So, we'll meet back down in a half hour. We got the van coming. Cool.
Okay.
So I go back to get Nick. Nick, I'm like shaking him. Bro, you okay? Cool. So I hit the club with these dudes.
Right.
We roll. I'm going straight. We hit the club. We go back, and then we even go to the club that's in the the place downstairs.
Right.
It was a blast. Had fun. Didn't even know any of these cats. Some of them were from Kansas City or whatever, or was it Nebraska? I don't even remember. You guys have a few locations.
Yeah, Denver, Kansas City.
Yeah. So it's about a group of 12 people, right?
Right.
So okay, get home probably 4 a.m, right? Pass out. Wake up the next day. Nick's actually finally getting up. He's ready to go. Hey, Mitch, you ready to go hit the pool? All right, cool, whatever. So we go get ready. We're walking down the hallway now. Nick, do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so what Mitch doesn't know is, and like an hour after he came up and like, hey, we're going to go out, I don't remember him coming up. I wake up and I think that the banquet's still going on. So I stumble down drunk, like the world was spinning. I stumble down, I go all the way down to the beach. There's nobody, they're clearing tables off, putting them away.
Right.
It's like 2 hours after the event, or after the event ended. And I'm walking around like, where the fuck? And then I go over to the pool. Nobody's in the pool. I'm like, where is everybody? The bed. So I end up just turning around, going right back into the room and going back to bed. So we come down the next morning and we're walking. We're like, let's go get breakfast. So we start walking towards the thing.
right.
These people come walking past and I don't recognize them. Hey, Mitch, what's up, man? How's it going? I had a great time last night. Hey, who's your friend? And then I come to find out these are all people that I work with, that work for the company. And everybody knows Mitch all of a sudden. So, like, this happened like 4 or 5 different times on our walk to breakfast. People go, Mitch, what's up, man? High five. Oh, great night last night. Who's your friend? Who's this?
You work for the company.
And Mitch is like, this is your coworker, Nick. Like, where was he last night? So Mitch has to explain. So that first night, the second night, they take us on a bus out to, was it Senior Frogs maybe?
Yeah, Senior Frogs and
Senior
another place
Frogs.
next door. Yep.
We go and we're out there drinking and they're doing body shots off a couple of girls that work for us and just craziness. Everybody's getting drunk. There's like these
How many people came? About 40?
Yeah, about 40. They took a whole bus of us.
Yeah.
So there's like these young kids outside selling candy, and I'd ask them, how much just to make you guys go home tonight? It was like midnight. These two
Right.
6-year-old kids are out on the side trying to sell candy.
Trying to sell
Yeah,
chiclets.
I go, how much to send you home? So I'm like, they don't understand. So the bouncer comes over.
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
remember.
what are you trying to ask them? I go, ask them how much money do I have to give them for them just to pack up and go home for the night? How much
What did
do
the
I have to
bouncer think you were asking him?
so, so then the bouncer's like, they said 20. I'm like, $20? And he's like, yeah. I go, here's 50. Send them home.
Right.
So I gave the little kids $50 and they left. So we're all having a good time. We're again wasted.
Then they posted up across the street. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, probably. They probably ran around the corner and what?
Chiclets.
Yeah, suckered some other guy. But the bus is getting ready to leave. But a couple of the girls we were with are like, we want to stay. We're having fun. And they're doing body shots and stuff. We're like, so me and Mitch are like, fine, we'll stay. So they're like, well, you got to find your own ride home if you don't go on the bus. And we're like, oh, how, whatever. We know we're at the hotel we're staying at. We're good.
Yeah.
So the bus leaves. We hang out for probably another 2 hours.
Yep.
So it's probably like 2:33 in the morning. Mitch is like, all right, let's get out of here. It's dying down.
Yep.
So we're like, ask the bouncer, hey, can we get a taxi? So car pulls up. It just looks like a regular car. He's like, opens doors, like, here's your taxi. So me and Mitch jump in the back seat. We start driving. Now, when we came here, we just went straight across some street and then made a left
In
and
the
we were
city.
in a hotel.
In the city.
Through the city.
To the city.
So now we get in the car and this guy starts driving
up
up
a
into
hill?
the mountains.
Oh,
into the mountains.
In
And
the trees and
all of a
shit.
sudden there's no city and we're just like in trees and like wilderness in the mountains. And me and Mitch are looking at each other and all of a sudden I see Mitch, like I could see the look on his face. Now he's starting to like get a little bit worried.
Don't get panicked.
So he like looks at
I
me,
know
he's
that
like-
look too.
He's like, Nick, he's like, if anything happens, if they tried to turn off this road, he's like, we're gonna, as soon as the car stops, we're jumping out. He's like, just run into the forest. Then I see Mitch has this big gold chain on that he used to wear, a big thick gold chain. Next thing I see him take off the chain and he's wrapping it around his fist. And he's sitting there with his fist down.
Boy, this
Then
is
he's
that
like-
Vallejo mentality
Yeah,
right there.
and then so we're driving, and then all of a sudden this truck pulls up, and they're like rolling right next to us, and I look over, and there's like two guys in the back of the truck just staring at us. I'm like, oh shit, this shit's going down. We're getting kidnapped. I'm thinking we're getting kidnapped. Mitch is ready to knock out our driver. So we come up this top of this hill, and we're driving through and then all of a sudden he makes a left. And we look and it's a hill going straight down,
see the
straight to
city.
our hotel.
We see the
You see the city and our hotel straight ahead.
Oh my God.
It was like a shortcut back through to avoid all the traffic of the city.
wow.
And Mitch is ready to knock out the taxi driver because we thought we were getting kidnapped in Mexico. And that was my one of my
my
first
God.
Hey,
times.
I'm sorry. Hey,
Oh my
hey, on the way there, I watched Taken on the flight.
So I just remember me and Mitch, we get back in, like at this time we're both wired because we both thought we were getting kidnapped.
Oh my God.
Mitch is telling me to jump out and run. And then he makes a left and we're just coming down the hill. And it was like a shortcut to the hotel to avoid all the city traffic.
Holy
It
shit.
scared the shit out of us.
When you said that story, I still remember the trees and the hill going up. I'm like, hold on, we did not come this way, Pimpin. We did not come this way.
And this doesn't look like like we're going in the wrong direction.
Hey, I'm ready. I've seen Predator.
Holy shit. That shit is fucking
Oh man, but that was classic. But that whole trip was just a classic trip.
All right. Next PV trip, next trip I need to go on, okay?
I might have somebody that says differently about that, but
Yeah. Well,
we can talk about that later.
rock, paper, scissors.
Hey, I might need a place to stay too after that. Long term.
All right. Oh, this next story, man. Okay, this is going to end there, but this next story, I hope I can do it justice, man. So I'm going to put us both on blast, right now.
guess so.
Yeah.
I guess
So back in the day, I host parties all the time. And that was my thing. Is I was big hoster probably like once a month for sure. I definitely have a party at my house, either be a fight party or just a party where barbecue and stuff like that. So.
Oh, yeah.
This party happened to be unusual. We had a family friend in town. I'm not going to say her name, but she lived in San Francisco at the time. And this is before I even got into the medical marijuana business. And she had brought these weed brownies.
Now, keep in mind, this is after we were drinking all day. Right?
Yeah, they were drinking all day. Yeah, I mean, definitely the party started, I think, around about 5 or 6 o'clock. And these brownies didn't pop out till probably 9, 10 o'clock at night. And so I've never had edibles. It was the first time I've ever had edibles in my life. I've never, I don't know the doses. She didn't tell us the doses and whatever. And we're big guys, so I'm thinking.
And then me, you, and then remember the weightlifting dude, like the power lifter.
Yeah, the power
Like
lifter.
the three
Yeah.
of us.
So she has this big Pyrex dish of brownies, and she didn't give us no instructions on this. She just said, "Hey,
Have at it, guys." Yeah.
These are, have at it. It was good." So I was like, "Oh yeah, we got this." You know what I'm saying? We're having a good night. Just add to our buzz. And we can go
So
about
me, you, and the powerlifting dude each take one, right?
Yeah. So we take one, and we wait about 20.
Chase it with a beer.
Yeah, and stuff. We cool. Wait about 20 minutes.
Nothing.
And so I'm like, I look at Mitch. I was like, "You feel anything?"
This shit ain't weak.
He was like, "This is terrible, man. This is some weak stuff." It's like, we probably need. I was like, you know what? We probably need to take another one. Just
And then even the weightlifter dude, he actually was like, "Oh, I had these before. Like, they normally hit by now, so you got to hit another one." So we each take another one.
We each take another one, and so another 20 minutes go by. So 40 minutes have gone by. Really nothing. You start to feel a little bit, but not really.
Nothing really. It's like,
and I'm like, you know what, Mitch? I think I know what the problem is. I say we're big guys. We got big body mass and stuff like that. I'm thinking like food. I'm like, we probably need to take one more, and it'll probably get us what.
Yeah. So we all took one more.
Yeah. So we all took one more.
And no. Let me tell this real quick because we took one more. And about 10, 15 minutes later, it still was nothing. That dude too, right?
Yeah.
So then me and you decided to take one more after that.
Yeah. So
we took four. He stopped at three.
He stopped at three. So we got four.
Yeah.
By that time.
And can I just say this? I'm chewing my fourth one, and I'm about to get the last piece. And I remember seeing the big dude get out of his seat, and he gets up, and he goes, "Oh!" And it was all in slow motion, and I'm like someone just punched him in his kidney.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God!
And
I dropped the last little corner of the fourth brownie.
By that time, the first brownie had kicked.
And I start to get up. And I'm like, oh shit! And now I'm starting to freak out and panic. And
yeah. So but I get the gills at first. So I'm looking at you, and you.
Well, guess what I did? I walked outside and called my cab and left. I just walked out, didn't say goodbye. I just walked outside and they're like, "Hey, where you at?"
He didn't say anything. So he walks outside. So by this time, that first brownie had kicked in already. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go look for Mitch. I'm see if he's feeling the same thing. He is nowhere to be found. Nowhere. The weightlifter dude had left already too. Yeah. He was gone, but Mitch is nowhere to be found. I'm like, God dang, was Mitch? By this time, I figured, you know what? He must have left. So I need to call him. Yeah. But by this time, the second brownie had already kicked in. So I know I'm tore up right now.
Well, let me just add this. So I'm home now, and I'm like, I'm gonna call a friend on the phone, talk to a friend real quick. And so I'm listening to my. First of all,
can I call a friend?
And so yeah.
Own a friend.
I need a lifeline.
He definitely need a lifeline.
And you're messed up when you're on your bed, but where your feet are at, that's where your head's at. You're just sitting there and you're on your phone and you're talking to your friend, and then you're like, the room is spinning. I have to go. And I'm like trying to position myself so shit doesn't spin anymore. Right. But it doesn't work.
And so by this time I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I'm really fucked up right now. I need to call Mitch just to check on him.
Yep.
And so I dial him up on the phone. I was like, and this phone took forever to dial. Yeah. And he picks up on the last ring. He was like, hello? Yeah. And I was like, Mitch. He was like, yeah. I was like, are you okay? He goes, no. He says, I'm underneath the table. I think I'm dead. And then he hangs up the phone with me. I start screaming. They call back and they're all laughing. And now I'm like angry. But when I go to my ex-wife, I'm like, I think I killed Mitch. Yeah. I was like, I think I killed my best friend. I'm fucked. She was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I just called him. He said he was underneath his table and he was dead. She was like, how is he dead when he's talking to you, dumbass?
Let me just say this though. I will say this. I literally did go into convulsions though on my kitchen floor. And I'm sitting there, and this reminds me now because I've seen the Equalizer movie. Mm-hmm. You're gonna die on this funky ass floor, and now I know what that feels like in 30 seconds.
So
yeah,
so by this time the third brownie had kicked in already, and I was like, I was at and normally, like, I let people just stay at my house until the party goes like,
Yep.
I mean, we come up until the sun comes up. No, I told my ex, I was like, hey, look, get everybody out this house. I need to go to bed because I'm fucked up today. So she rounds up, she rounds everybody up, gets them out. Bro, so I go upstairs, and by that time, the fourth brownie had kicked in. By this time, I'm hallucinating. I'm seeing clowns. Fucking the room is spinning.
That was just some of your friends saying goodbye. You're seeing them for their true colors.
It was one of them nights I couldn't sleep. It was like on and off type of sleep.
I'm sweating right now. I'm like, just thinking about that shit.
Bro, it was one of the craziest nights I've ever been a part of. The craziest thing is I had shit to do tomorrow.
Oh, they said I shit the bed. I thought you said that. I really did.
Hey, we don't do that to you though. I had a time I was at
you shit the bed?
No, I was at our girl Davita's party. I showed up and they're like, "Oh, you want to take a hit off this joint?" And I took one hit and I sat at the table for the next hour just spinning my phone. Yeah. And then I called my brother. I was like, "You got to come pick me up." He's like, "You just got there like an hour ago. You drunk already?" I'm like, "No, I'm not drunk. I'm high." I'm like, "I can't walk. You got to pick me up." So he didn't drive and pick me up. And then I went home. I dry heaved for 5 minutes straight in the bathroom and then passed out on the bathroom floor for 4 hours.
Let me say this from my end of that. So I literally did pass out on my kitchen floor. Right. I did convulse and shit. Like I was like fucking like shaking like a motherfucker. And I swear on everything I love, whether it was just, I swear like I'm walking up to the light and shit. And I'm not like,
but did you die?
They told me you can't get in yet. Go the fuck back down. I'm not even whether that was a hallucination or that really happened. When I first got up, I swear it really happened. I'm like, damn, like I was seriously dying on the freaking. And then I know, look up the odds. What are the odds of people? Has nobody supposedly ever died from weed? Right? Not from weed, around yada yada yada.
He got up to the light and they're like, "Hey, you pushed that guy through the window at Martini Ranch. You got to go back down."
Yeah,
but no. I mean, I even woke up the next day. I was still.
Well, first of all, I tried to get a hold of you the next day, and 2:30. Your ex-wife is now. She was like, he's still asleep. You guys are dumbasses. She's like,
bro, I woke up like I had shit to do the next day. I woke up still hot. I'm splashing water on my face, trying to get my shit together.
I wasn't right till the day after.
Yeah, the day after, the day we woke up, I was right. It was crazy. Hey, listen, it made me respect edibles to this day. It's like. Don't.
Oh no! What did the girl say? She goes, "You're only supposed to take a quarter to a half."
A quarter to half. Oh, now you tell me you gave me zero instructions before I swallowed.
These are super strength. You're only supposed to take a quarter of it.
That was insane. Like an insane. But guess what? Yeah. We live. We didn't die.
Tell the story.
We lived to tell the story. Man, hey, thank you guys for
dealing with our bullshit.
Another 210. We out of here, baby.